Think you've heard every ghost story? Think again, because what I'm about to tell you didn't happen in some haunted Victorian house or crumbling asylum. It happened in the heart of the Rockies, in a cabin so isolated that even your phone gives up trying to find a signal. This isn't folklore. This isn't an urban legend. This is Banff National Park, and what happened there made me question everything I thought I knew about fear and about being alone. So ask yourself, if something called your name in the dark woods and it sounded exactly like you, would you answer?
It was February 2021. I've been through a rough patch, burnout, breakup, the usual collection of small disasters that make you think a few days in nature will fix you. So when my buddy Caleb offered his uncle's old cabin near Cascade Mountain, I jumped at it. The directions were simple. Take the Trans-Canada west from Banff, turn off onto a gravel service road, drive until the trees swallow the light, and there it'd be. The cabin wasn't much. A single room, wood stove, oil lamps, and a half-frozen creek out back that whispered through the snow. The air smelled of pine and rot, the kind of scent that belongs to places older than people. It was perfect, until it wasn't. The first night was calm. I made a fire, opened a beer, listened to the logs hiss as the heat pushed back the cold. No Wi-Fi, no news, no noise. Around midnight, I started hearing something outside. Soft, rhythmic crunching in the snow. I killed the lantern and listened. At first, I thought it was deer. Then I realized it was circling the cabin. Whatever it was, it made deliberate steps, heavy, spaced, slow. When it reached the back window, it stopped. The silence that followed was worse than the sound itself. I felt it, that electric charge that tells you you're being watched. I crept to the window, pulled back the curtain an inch, and saw nothing. Just the forest, black and endless. Then came the knock. 3 dull thuds against the wall, right below the window. I froze. And then, from outside, I heard my own voice. "You in there?"
At first, I thought I was losing it. The voice was mine, right down to the cadence, the breath between words. "Hey," it said again, a little louder. "You locked the door, right?" I stumbled back from the window, heart pounding. That's exactly what I had said to myself earlier that night. "You locked the door, right?" I didn't answer. I just stood there, gripping the fire poker until my knuckles went white. Then came another knock, closer this time, from the front door. Same rhythm, same sound. "It's cold out here. Let me in." I couldn't move. My body refused to listen to my brain. After maybe a full minute, the voice changed. It got quieter, less human. "Please, let me in," it rasped. I backed away until my shoulder hit the wall. The fire cracked. Outside, something dragged its hand across the wood, slow, deliberate, like nails tracing every board. Then, silence again. When dawn came, I barely dared open the door. But when I finally did, the world outside looked untouched, except for the footprints. They weren't mine. They were too long, each stride a little too wide, like whoever made them didn't quite understand walking. They circled the cabin twice and stopped exactly where I'd stood inside the window. That night, I told myself it was an echo, some trick of sound bouncing through the trees. That's what I needed to believe. But then I found something else. In the snow near the steps, a handprint.
not pressed into the snow, but beneath it, frozen in the ice like it had been waiting there long before I arrived.
By the third night, I was ready to leave. I packed my bag, but before I could go, I realized my phone had 1 bar of signal. So I tried recording an audio note, mostly to prove to myself how ridiculous I'd been acting. Night 3, I said, trying to sound calm. Haven't seen anyone, probably just wildlife. That's when the playback started on its own. My phone glitched, and I heard my voice, but not from that night. "You in there?" The same phrase, the same tone, except I never recorded it. Then, another voice cut through, a whisper, soft but sharp enough to make my skin crawl. "Stop recording." I dropped the phone. It kept playing, static hissing louder and louder until the screen went black. The wind outside shifted, and from the direction of the woods, I heard something calling again. Not my name this time, just a low, trembling hum that sounded like breathing through wood.
I made a mistake that night. I stayed. It was past midnight when the power from my lantern started to die. The fire was nothing but embers, the air thick and cold. And then, footsteps again. Slow, wet crunches. This time, they didn't circle. They came straight to the door. No knock, no voice, just weight against the wood, like something pressing its entire body against it. Then I heard whispering, dozens of voices layered together, all speaking my name. They weren't calling to me, they were arguing over me.
And then, one voice separated from the rest. "He's seen us. He knows." The doorknob started to turn. I lunged for the rifle Caleb had left above the mantel. When I looked back, the door was open 3 inches, and the smell that came through was not snow or pine. It was rot, old, wet decay, like something that had crawled out from under the ground. I slammed the door, shoved the bolt into place, and fired a single shot through it. The echo cracked through the forest. Whatever was on the other side went silent. I didn't sleep. I just waited for the first hint of dawn.
When morning came, I opened the door. The snow was smooth again. No tracks, no footprints. But something had changed. All around the cabin, carved into the frost on the windows, were words, written in my handwriting. "Let me in." I never told Caleb. Never told anyone, really. I just drove back to Banff and checked into a hotel. That night, as I lay in bed trying to convince myself it was all in my head, I turned on the TV. The news was covering an avalanche that had swept through Cascade Canyon that same night. They said a backcountry hiker's remains were found near a collapsed ranger outpost, frozen mid-step, eyes wide open. And then they showed the photo. It was me, or something that looked exactly like me.